If you're anything like me, you are constantly on a mission to optimize your finances. Whether that is making more money, saving more money, or generally feeling better about how you manage your money. The good news is that there is no perfect time of year to do this, because it is always a great time to get better with money. In this video, I am sharing 7 helpful things that you can do today to improve your finances, and not one of them involves investing in the stock market. All of these are practical, actionable tips that do not require a finance degree to work. So let's jump in. Number 1, move your savings into the highest yield interest account that you can find. Banking is super boring, and so most people ignore it, and banks know that. That is why a few years ago, I ended up keeping my money in a savings account that only paid 0.1% in interest, when I could have been saving in an account that paid 4.1% interest. Rectified the situation. Really easy thing to do. What usually happens is with legacy accounts, either the welcome offer wears off, or your own bank or other banks might be introducing new savings products where they do pay better interest, but they don't always tell you this. So the onus is really on you to find an account that suits your needs and pays the best possible interest for your savings. Second on the list, sort out your pension. For most of us, there's a massive disconnect between the person that you see in the mirror today and 80-year-old you, and that is what makes sorting out your pension feel like a much less important task than it actually is, especially because it requires making financial sacrifices today that you can't really visualize the results of. So make this a little bit easier with a visualization exercise. Visualize yourself as an 80-year-old. Think about how you're going to be thinking and feeling, and imagine that person as an actual person who is going to need to be looked after. And think about how nice it will be to be able to give that person a little step up. Your pension is you giving your future self a step up. So the first thing to do is ensure that you are enrolled in some kind of workplace pension. If you're in the UK, for example, your employer is obliged legally to contribute to your pension pot, as long as you have committed to contribute from your own paycheck as well. The money that your employer pays comes from the business and not from your paycheck. Therefore, this is an absolute no-brainer because it is free money. If you're in the US or aren't eligible for a workplace pension, I really strongly suggest that you should go and look at what you are eligible for and figure out how to start saving for your pension today. With regards to how much to put away for your pension, this is another one that people get hung up on. And according to the website moneysavingexpert.co.uk, the general rule of thumb is that the age you start investing divided by 2 is the amount that you should be putting away for your retirement. For example, if you start investing into a pension at age 30, you should be aiming for, not a hard rule, but you should aim to contribute about 15% of your salary should be going towards your pension until you're ready to retire. The idea here is not to be a stickler for numbers. The overall takeaway is always start contributing to your pension as soon as you can for as long as you can. Number 3 on the list, stop overspending. Most people I know are actually really good at saving. They save and save and save, and then they dip into their savings for something not necessarily super important, and then the whole cycle starts again because they need to try and top up those savings. This might sound a little bit like you. You have your little pot saved up, and then you decide you want to do a DIY project and you need a new tool, so you dip into your savings. Or somebody invites you on a trip, but the deposit is due, and so you dip into your savings and you move through life this way, feeling like you're constantly trying to top up your savings. To put this challenge bluntly, you are overspending because you are using money that you don't have to pay for things that you want rather than things that you really need, which is what your emergency saving fund is really for. Now, it's obviously really easy to say stop overspending. It's a little bit harder to put it into practice. So what do? Assuming that you are spending your savings on things that you want rather than things that you need, this falls into habit forming. And there's a lot of research out there about forming new habits. Dr. Grace Lorden is a behavioral scientist at the London School of Economics, and she has talked recently about building new habits. At the crux of it is reducing friction around the habits that you want to build and increasing friction around the habits that you want to break. In other words, you want to make it much easier to save in the first place and much more difficult to withdraw money from your savings. So here are some ideas for how this could actually play out in your life. Firstly, reframe your idea of savings itself. So a lot of people view savings pot as overflow that they can dip into whenever they want, when in reality, you should be thinking about your emergency savings as a non-refundable expense. In the same way that you think about your rent or your grocery bill, once you have paid into your savings account, that money should be untouchable. You can't get it back unless you really need it to pay for a car service or tide yourself over if you lose your job. Once you've got that straight in your head, you can start to think about making it harder to take that money out of your savings account. Little things that you can do is move the money into a savings account with a different bank. This adds just a little bit of extra brain power from you because you need to open a separate app, for example, if you want to take the money out. The other thing you could do is look at a notice account. So you're only allowed to take the money out if you give the bank 5 days notice. These are all little things that force you to pause and think before you take the money out, and therefore increasing the friction a little bit. Another slightly more fun idea is actually just to create separate savings pots. So once you have your emergency fund there, at the same time you can start investing a little bit of money into another savings pot where the idea is very much that you can dip in however often you want, and you can use that money for your holidays or your new shoes or whatever the case may be. But the idea is that your emergency savings are safe. Fourth on the list, start investing. And here I don't necessarily mean the stock market. Like I said, there are a whole bunch of different ways to invest. It could be the stock market. It could be in buying your first house. It could be investing in your skills and your future. The idea that underlies this investing concept is to spend your money intentionally in a way that is going to be better for your finances either today or over the long term. So stop spending money on stuff that you don't really care about and start focusing how you spend your money onto the things that will move the needle over the long run. Number 5, have a conversation about your career. Building a side hustle, winning on the stock market, saving 10,000. These are long-term goals. They take a while to reach. However, increasing your salary in the job that you currently have could be a quick way to get returns. So with this in mind, when was the last time you asked for a raise? When was the last time that you did a little stock take and compared your current role and salary to the wider market? When was the last time that you talked to your boss about the skills you would need to get a promotion and the salary that comes with that? If you haven't done that for a long time, now is a really great time to do it. Sit down with your boss and see whether you can get more money for your current work setup. It is a lot easier than starting a side hustle from scratch. Talk about money with your partner. This is number 6. Wherever you look, money is one of the top 3 reasons that couples argue. And you can see why, because it can be quite a stressful topic just for one person to deal with. But when you are talking about joint finances and or joint financial goals, the issue kind of compounds. However, keeping your eyes wide open where your own money is concerned is basically the number 1 rule of personal finance. Therefore, if you and your partner have joint financial goals or have any kind of shared finances, you sticking your head in the sand is going to be a problem for your finances. If you want to be financially secure in a partnership, it really helps to get aligned on how you're spending your money, what your financial goals are. And the only way to do that is to start discussing money. So put that on the list of things that you do to improve your finances this year. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you found these 7 tips for improving your finances helpful and, more importantly, actionable. Let me know in the comments which ones work for you. And of course, if you have any of your own ideas, I would love to hear them. See you in the next video.